Tactic. Why she stops.
This is really, really serious. The great financial reset is here. And I know everybody wants to find out what cryptocurrencies to invest in, how to get rich quick. But I think it's really important, if you're the head of the household, to get very, very serious on what I'm about to talk about. Now, there's good news and there's bad news, and there's nothing to fear with this. This happens in history over and over and over again. In today's video and tomorrow's video, I'm going to be breaking down in a deeper level what is actually happening. On my channel, I want to keep you calm, I want to keep you stoic, and I want to share.
Fortunately, today you got the different phone. All right then. Hi, hi. Sorry, it's not showing me that people are actually on. Okay, you guys are coming in now. Hi.
I'm fine with you. How
Are you? Phone. Hello, snack.
Hello, guys.
Topic today is why she stopped following your lead. Bear with me. I'm just setting up the cameras. Oh snap! 12 people. Damn.
Alright. Big fan.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. What stands out for you the most?
Yeah, so today
Its topic is why she stopped following your lead. I'm gonna kick off. Kick off. I'm gonna kick off now. And hello, guys on TikTok.
better be answer. Let's not.
We will have a problem.
Um,
So we're gonna kick off now anyway. All right. So why she stopped following your leadership? I want you guys to understand something. So first of all, I'm a men's coach, and again, a lot of the stuff I teach is not just from my lived experience, but I happen to read a lot. And again, today I am open to add value to you guys in this live. So feel free to shoot any questions whilst I'm sharing. But I'm just gonna kick off and say my 2 pence. Right. So what we need to understand about leadership is it's not something that comes in natural. They don't. The this is not something that we were given just based on the fact that men are masculine and therefore they have leadership and women are feminine and therefore they need to submit. This is something that we need to hone. And I want to say one thing as well, right? We need to understand that if we want, as a woman, you want a leader, then your role is to be able to nurture. As a man, you want to nurture, then your role is to be able to understand how to lead. And once we focus on what we can do, then that person that we're looking for can create. It's like you're creating the space for the other person to come in and do what you ideally want them to do. But it stems from you being able to first take the lead by guiding yourself into saying, I want a leader, so let me nurture them, or let me learn how to be able to be a solid nurturer for the leader I want, right? And as a man, you want a nurturer. Great. Learn how to be the leader for the nurturer you're looking for. So instead of, I wouldn't even say that we're complaining, because no one's complaining today. Well, we know how it is at the moment, gender wars and all sorts. So what I'd say is this: the best way is for you to make space for the things you actually want. And you blaming the other person for not doing enough, it's kind of like holding your hands tied and hoping someone else will make up for the things you're not. Hi, hello everyone. Hi guys on TikTok, hello everyone. And so, in other words, what I'm basically saying, in other words, is once we focus on what we can control, we get to move the needle towards our direction, right? Now, let's go back to the leadership situation. So, like I said, just because you're a man doesn't mean you're a leader. Let's establish that, right? This is where everything changes though. Once you understand how to navigate and understand that it doesn't come naturally, you now start looking for the skill sets that make you a leader. You start to realize that there's a lot of things that we weren't actually taught. One of the main things
One of the main things
is
all right, Marvin. Yes, Marvin.
so one of the main things is very simply the fact that as a leader, one of the main things you're going to start to do is your word, right? What does your word say? Are you someone that can commit to their word? If you're not someone that can commit to their word, then you need to start asking yourself, how do you expect someone else to come under your leadership?
Most people aren't leaders.
You can't teach sheep to be shepherds.
You're not born a
Leader. That's the thing. I don't think there's anything that cannot be taught. Because if you even think about it this way, right? Like I'm generally naturally, I'd say a light masculine man because of the system that my dad kind of has, right? So do I use my fate as a foundation for my coach? I use my life experience, and obviously my life experience is part of my coaching. So hope that answers your question. But when it comes to where I come from, my dad had a very he was soft-hearted, very kind man, great father, great husband. But when it came to setting boundaries now, because of his kindness, he struggled in learning how to be stern. So I embraced a lot of that. So naturally, a lot of people that lack the ability to set boundaries find it difficult to. They're great at playing the leadership role because they're able to look after everyone else, but they're not able at setting the tone that allows actually people to follow them, because it's the conviction, is the self-respect, is the assertiveness that allows people to now say, okay, I need to trust what this person is saying. So I had to develop that. So to answer your question, I don't think people are born leaders. You can be made a leader, and there are some people that is simply not for. Like, you may be this person that just doesn't want to be a leader. Not everyone has to be a leader. And one of the main things I say as well is, I'm not very big on saying to men, oh men, you must be masculine and this is no. If you want to be a feminine man, by all means do that. That's up to you. Like, no one should stop you from doing what you want to do, right? But understand that if you're now a feminine man that wants to lead a relationship, then you need to look for a woman who is happy to complement the dynamic that's you are deciding not to take, which is what I said before. Make space for the person you want rather than complain about who isn't there. So back to the leadership situation. When we now realize that as leaders we were made to understand how to what's the word, navigate our of self first, right? I need to, like I said, stick to my word. I need to make sure that my actions carry weight. I need to make sure that the way I carry myself gives the people behind me the confidence that I can carry out the task, right? So this is where things like even body language come into play. These are all things that we did not know. I did not know this. I didn't enter a leadership class during secondary school that taught me, oh yeah, by the way, your body language, your tonality, and everything you do before you even speak carries around 93% of the leadership or the way you carry yourself before you even open your mouth. I did not learn this. And you need to understand that a lot of men that don't know this. And this is why, to answer your question, Shaoling, yeah, to answer your question, Shaoling, a lot of people will go out there and be like, oh, so leaders just get people to follow them and things are great and everyone just listens to what they've got to say. And although that's what it kind of looks like on the outside, there's a lot more to it, which is what I want to break down today. So the reason why a lot of times women struggle with men's leadership in today's generation is because men weren't taught how to lead, because everyone was expected to understand how that works, because like you said, we were supposed to be born leaders because we're masculine. And the narrative of what I've come to understand is that true leadership is actually based on lived experience.
Gravitate towards
Is instinctively. You think so? I've built a lot of leaders, bro. I've actually built a lot of leaders. I'll give you an example. There's this kid I was working with. This was when I was doing like mentoring work. He failed probation. He wasn't gonna make it, and as a branch manager at the time, I was like, I'm going to mentor him, and I'm gonna get him in my team to see what I can do with him. Technically, if someone is failing probation, you're not gonna say, "Oh yeah, he's a born leader." This guy became a branch manager in the space of a year, and he wasn't just a branch manager. He done what I done in the space. I done that in 3 years. He done that in a year. So I think that if you look at the actual the identity, you can say, okay, I am a leader. Yes. Do I have the traits? Yes. The truth of the matter is this: when you look at leadership, the idea of it being something that you're born with or something that you can develop
with a following philosophy.
depends on it. I would. I taught him everything he knows. So just to answer you guys on TikTok, just in case you didn't know, so we're having a very interesting conversation here on YouTube, and Shaolin Monk is basically sharing that he believes that leaders are born. You can't teach sheep how to be shepherds, and he's also said that based on the example I just brought up, would I follow my mentee if my life depended on it? And my answer was yeah. One of the reasons why is because I was able to allow him to see what he felt to see in the first place. And I think this is the thing, right? I genuinely believe that I'm a living example. This is what I need you to understand, Shani. I don't think of myself as a leader. Some people may look at me and think so, but I personally know the amount of work I had to do to get here. I was very shy. Hi, mom. I was very shy. I was very insecure. And I had reached a space where I was being taken advantage of. And that's when I realized the power of boundaries, the power of self respect, the power of learning how to stand up for myself. And that's what unlocked my leadership instinct, which is what I think a lot of men are struggling with nowadays. The fact that, especially when it comes to relationships, right? We go from the tough man. We are stoic. Some of us are stoic. Some of us are cold hearted. Some of us know how to just make sure that we act like we don't care. There's a lot of information out there that shows us how to embody the dark masculine, but just about grasp it without actually being able to hold it with strength or navigate it accordingly or turn it into alchemy. So we learn how to be stoic, and I done that myself. I was very, very like, oh yeah, do you know what? I don't care about anything or anyone, blah, blah, blah. And then when it came to the actual girl I wanted, we go soft. So we lose the ability to be strong. We lose the ability to show our boundaries. We lose the ability to be assertive because we are now binary. So it's either we're cold or hot. We're either soft or strong. We're either kind or just horrible. And this here is exactly why our leadership is struggling, because we are being misled with the information that allows us to understand how to navigate accordingly, right? So in this case and scenario, here's what I'm trying to say to you, Charlene, if you're still here. I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're well as well. Here's what I'm trying to say to you, right? Once you understand how to calibrate yourself and integrate the two of them, right? You can now become not just the cold-hearted leader that knows how to make the cold-hearted decisions, but you can show up for your kid. I've got a kid now, right? I'm married. And one of the things I've learned is, in order for me to be present for my child, I can't be the cold-hearted guy. Like, that's not gonna work with my child. Like, she needs to be nurtured right now. My wife, I can't be this stoic, cold-hearted person that doesn't care about my wife, right? And so it's about understanding how to continuously develop yourself into becoming this leader that can guide himself, most importantly.
What does present mean?
Still can't understand what people mean by it. I will come to you very soon. So what was I saying? So in regards to understanding how to navigate accordingly, here's what I would say, right? Once you understand how to integrate yourself, you're going to be able to show up accordingly, which now leads me to the presence. So they just asked about what presence means. So think about it this way: 30% of your body, right, is your skin, your face, your bone structure, your toes, everything, right? So then there's 70%. 70% is water. Then in that water, there's your nervous system, which includes the electricity and all that stuff, enough for it to be connected and whatnot. That 70% is what creates your presence. That 70% is what allows you to go out there and speak with your body before you open your mouth to do so. So what your presence allows you to do is show the intention without you having to speak, right? So I don't know if you watch anime, is the easiest thing to do, but think of aura in there's so many examples, right? Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, solo leveling. It's that energy that comes prior to you even speaking. So sometimes even your eye contact, right? So I'll give you an example. So say for instance, you got your body language right now. Let's do some body language example right now. If my body's open, wide open right now, you can feel that what I'm saying sounds a lot more assertive than it would if I was just speaking like this. Why? Because I am utilizing my body to speak to you and tell you that this represents confidence. I am asserting what I'm trying to say, right? Neck up. And there's different examples. This is actually from sales. Where am I from? I'm based in the UK. I'm in between the UK and Dubai, and I am from Nigeria. So yeah, so that I hope that makes sense. So understanding how to hone your nervous system is what's going to allow you to own your presence. And then this is where again the integration comes in, right? You learning how to integrate with intention your nervous system, because you see, this is the thing, right? Everyone has taught us how to talk like a man. You use your deep voice and do this, and whenever someone screws you, you show up and then show them that you're not someone to mess around with. Here's what no one's taught us. Men were taught how to run like a machine, but you weren't taught how to manage one, right? So you now have your body saying, I want to portray confidence, but your nervous system is saying, I'm still dealing with the anxiety attack I had 5 months ago. So You're there panicking, but you want to portray strength. And the problem with that is this: when your nervous system contradicts what your words are saying, your nervous system wins. So the reason why some of us are struggling with leadership is because our very nervous system is telling everyone that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared. And this goes back to, I don't know, Charlene, you're still here. But you said that some people are born leaders. I believe some people have learned in the early stages how to hone their nervous system into allowing people how to manage their nervous system. Does that make sense? So the best way to look at your nervous system is inside your mind. There's certain things that your subconscious, your mind is saying. And once you understand how to master that into agreeing into one thing, that's where conviction is birthed. And once you have conviction, what I am saying to you carries a lot more weight than me saying, oh, you know what? I think that what you guys are saying, it's like it's a complete different transformation solely based on the fact that as I'm saying something, my nervous system is backing me. So it's like, imagine there's three people. There's you, the nervous system, and then your body. Your body is agreeing with you. It's saying the same thing. Your mind is saying the same thing. Your mouth is saying the same thing. That carries a lot more weight than your mouth saying something, your body saying something else, and then your nervous system going to the other side completely. And what we've got nowadays when it comes to leadership is this happening on a massive scale. A lot of us don't know how to speak to people. A lot of us utilize confidence to cover up for certain things. A lot of us utilize our jobs, money, this, that. I work with, like, when I say some of the people I work with, it's insane. It's like you think that because they've got so much success, so much, they've got that. There we go. There we go. Five, you're onto something. You're onto something. So once you understand, like, the status doesn't give you alignment, right? The job title doesn't give you alignment. No, 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 no. The girl you get doesn't give you alignment. You could have 15, 20 girls. If you don't understand how to align yourself fully, what you're saying to someone will come across as confusing. Or they may not even say anything to you. They just say this guy feels, he just feels weird. Like, I'll give you an example, right? There's times where when I was trying to connect with people, speak to people, people will feel like, nah, I don't really connect with him. Because even though I wanted to connect with them, my nervous system was saying, I don't like these people. Or my nervous system was saying, I am anxious to be around these people. So as I'm speaking, my body is saying, right? So learn how to align yourself so that you can lead accordingly with conviction. So you're saying that you're saying something, but your action are also agreeing is got, yes, exactly that. So when you're saying something and your action align with what you're saying, what you say carries more weight. And I'll give you an example. This thing I'm teaching you guys is priceless because I kid you not, once you understand as a man how to get your presence to do more talking than your mouth, because your mouth does 7%, and that's what a lot of us are banking on. And this is why we can't get people sometimes to listen to us fully. I'll give you an example. When me and my wife are going through, let's say, a minor disagreement, or even a major disagreement, let's just say major disagreement, I don't speak.
I look at her.
And I'm like, okay, that's how you feel. Let's reconvene. Let's talk about this. Let me set the tone. I'm not angry, I'm not vexed, but I am setting the tone, and my body is saying this here will be dealt with. And because of that, it may not be immediate, right? Because obviously it takes training. It took me what? Probably I'll say I've been doing this for what? 12 years? 12, 13, 15 years, something like that. It takes time, right? But once you understand how to master your nervous system and get it to understand what is your body wants to say and your mouth wants to say, you become unstoppable. You truly become someone that before they even, it's like You got your aura listening to you at will. That is unlimited power, right? And by the way, your nervous system and your emotions are aligned. So I've got maybe 5 more minutes here. But once you get your nervous system to now say, let's connect with our emotions and let's use our emotions to empower the decisions that we already made. Because a lot of us think that discipline is about disregarding your decisions, disregarding your emotions, and just dealing with how you need to deal with the situation. That's what a man is supposed to do. I'm telling you now, emotions are power. Don't believe me, check ChatGPT. Emotions are power. And every single time you're disregarding that power for the sake of, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to manage it, I don't want to speak to it, you're wasting energy. One thing I do is, I'll give you an example with the people I work with again. Some of them come to me because they've gotten to the stage where they miss the grit they had. And then some of you may listen to rap music, right? Have you noticed how it's always on the come up that these guys are cold? They are cold. They have fire. They have conviction because they've turned their pain into the conviction that allows people to know that as they're rapping, as they're speaking, that conviction pisses right through people. Because it's like it's saying, I am there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting out of this position. And then all of a sudden there's just that pop music, different collaborations, and just like what happened? What happened? Where did he go? Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, here's what happens. That conviction, once you learn how to master your emotions, can stay there at will. I promise you, right? I've been going gym for the past 12, 10 years, right? I am still the fat kid that said, I must lose everything. I must lose it. And the thing is that I'm obviously far from what I used to be, but the fact that I still have that hunger, that I still have that conviction allows me to enjoy. I'm good, brother. How are you? Allows me to enjoy the session, but most importantly, embrace it with the pain that I carried 10 years ago. Why? Because I've learned how to organize my emotions. You see, when we suppress our emotions, we're not able to do that. They don't tell you that, but when you're not able to extract anger at will, you're not able to extract peace at will, you're not able to extract pressure at will. What tends to happen is when it comes, you suppress it and you ignore it. And that's you just wasting energy. You see, someone that can turn conviction into a consistent thing at will, unstoppable. Unstoppable, right?
How do you deal with
Shame. When you feel shame because of something. All right, I'm gonna give you guys the final analogy here. So imagine you're a bus driver, okay? And emotions come inside. The emotions are the passengers. Yes, I'm coming, I'm coming. So emotions are passengers, right? Shame comes in. Shame comes into the bus. It stinks, it smells, but it's inside the bus. So you acknowledge shame, all right? You acknowledge shame. You allow it, you sit on it. But then when it's time for it to release it, you let it go. Because the problem is, if you don't let go of shame, if you feel as the bus driver, if you feel the bus completely, I don't know if you guys can sense where I'm going with this, but if the bus is completely full, then nothing else can come in, right? Because there's no seats available. There's no space for anything else to come in. So when you're suppressing things, when you're not dealing and acknowledging things, what you're doing is you're making it impossible for you to create an ecosystem around your emotions. You're allowing, and again, like I said, in order for you to be the bus driver that's able to understand and manage his emotions, you're going to have the ability and freedom to have enough space to go and say, okay, I want to use this one, and use that one, I want to use this emotion. Shame is something that you need to understand comes from a place of caring for someone else's opinion or situation over what you may believe or care about, right? So the best way to deal with shame is by understanding that that shame that you're dealing with or you're feeling is something that needs to be acknowledged, but it doesn't own you because you don't own anything. Like the best way to describe this is detach, like learn how to detach yourself from things that you believe are allowing you to feel like that now have a control over you. Because the truth of the matter is that we come with nothing and we will go with nothing, right? So the best way to handle shame is by understanding that, okay, cool, this thing is embarrassing, it's bad. So number one, you acknowledge the shame. It's not nice, right? You acknowledge it. Then you start to feel it.
Then you start to
Feel it, and then you start to understand it. Now what needs to happen is, once you acknowledge and feel that shame, the next step is understanding that you come with nothing.
and you believe with nothing. So you look at the bigger picture.
You zoom out, right? Imagine yourself at the cinema and you're watching yourself and you're the director, because you actually are the director of your life, right? And you're now saying, okay, cool, shame, fair enough. 5 years time, 10 years time, will they still be here? Maybe, maybe not. That's number two. Number three is you compare it to something worse than whatever it is you're comparing it to. Let me give you an example. Someone insulted me, and okay, I got rejected, and the person that rejected me told her friend, and her friend was someone that I wanted to speak to now. So now there's a cycle of embarrassment where it's like, how did this even happen? I'm embarrassed, right? Maybe it's not as deep as that, probably easier. But in that, I'm saying, okay, well, there are people that have gone through way worse than this, which is true, right? That is the truth. Okay, so then what I'm going through isn't
Charlene, okay.
okay. I'm gonna come to you. You're coming with some valid points. I'm gonna come to you. So just to, so the, you've now acknowledged the shame. You've compared it to something worse than whatever it is you're experiencing. So you have to the so the problem is sometimes when shame is right in our faces, it looks horrible. But however, when we zoom out and then we see something smaller to compare it to, something bigger to compare it to, it doesn't look as heavy as it actually is. Don't get me wrong, it's still embarrassing. That's the truth. But however, you've now compared it to something else. And then you now turn that shame into a lesson, right? So you've acknowledged it, you felt it, you can see it, it's heavy, it's nasty. However, it's not as bad as this two comparisons. Okay, two people know about my shame. Now, there's someone out there that's got 100 people and still went about their day, right? I'll give you an example. As an entrepreneur, you get a lot of no's. Walt Disney's got 300. I've got to nowhere near that. So, is there really much shame to have? Do you get what I'm saying? So, you find something, because when we compare whatever we're experiencing to someone that's gone through worse than what we've gone through, we're easily going to almost lose the weight it carries, right?
What if what
When I'm coming. So now the aim is you've got to this basically, shame is right in front of your face. When shame is in front of your face, it's going to be heavy. You've got to learn how to detach yourself from it. And again, remember I said you come with nothing and you will go with nothing. So either way, it's just not yours to carry. I mean, yes, it's happened. But now you've compared it to someone that's gone through worse. Like, unless you're the person that's gone through it and you're the only person that's gone through it, and the way you've gone through it, nobody else has, then that's a different story to have. But then I'm going to ask you, what is it you actually done? Right? But you've done these following steps. Now you're at step number 4. So, step number 4 is when you now understand this specific topic. So, which is shame isn't yours to hold and own. You don't own anything. It's not yours. The experience was teaching you something. And I need you to understand, in the law of polarity, everything has two sides, right? So until if you are looking at pain or embarrassment or even like the worst things in life, and you're solely focusing on the negatives, you're missing out on the lesson it can teach you, which is only seen once you balance the scale, right? You balance the scale by saying, okay, there's two sides to every coin. On the other side of shame, there's a lesson. Okay, what is the lesson that this thing can learn, that can teach me? All right, cool. I probably shouldn't try this again, or I probably should do this thing in a different manner. But the truth of the matter is this: once you weaponize shame, it it kind of like disempowers you, right? So you want to find out what the upside of that shame is. What is the lesson that this shame is teaching me? And then in a few years' time, you're going to be able to share a story on this very shame you've experienced, right? So understand what this shame is teaching you and then move on from there. And then now that you've understood, so you've done the process, you're now at how do I turn this shame into pain and pain that I can use into power to execute? I'll give you an example. Robert Greene utilizes anger to write. And Robert Greene is the author of 48 Laws of Power, a lot of books, 50th Law, Art of Seduction, a lot of books. He's done quite a few books, actually. Yeah, big fan of his work. And yeah, highly recommend if anyone, 48 Laws of Power in particular, very good book. So he every single time he gets angry, he writes, right? So now you've done the process, so you've detached yourself from the shame because you've understood that there was a lesson from it. You now turn that very shame into fuel and energy that you can now utilize to move on to the next level. It's all about understanding how to get to the next level. It's like this is a game, guys. This is the best way to describe life. It's like a game where the more you climb, the more levels you get to unlock. Like some of you right now, I'll give you an example. When I was single, I saw myself as maybe single level 1, then there was single level 2. Now for me to get to single level 2, I had to understand how to understand. So single level 1 was just me suppressing my masculine, dark masculine entity and sort of just trying to be the nice guy. Level 2 was me understanding my dark masculine, but suppressing my light masculine. Level 3 was me integrating both and then being able to now start looking at how to show up as I wanted, owning my presence, right? Then there's level 4. Level 4 is when I was able to now move on to the person that could pick and choose who I wanted to be with. Level 5 is when I was able to come out at will, right? So you can gamify your journey to becoming a healthy partner. You can gamify your journey to becoming a healthy leader. You can gamify your journey to becoming a great dad. It's all what you make it, right? But what I would say to round up today is understand how to turn everything that's coming at you into a lesson or a win. But either way, you can't lose, right? So if you're someone that's struggling with your partner not following your leadership, gamify it, and I'll show you exactly how I done it for myself and the people I work with. But nevertheless, guys, thank you for tuning in. Great questions. And yeah, drop me a follow, subscribe, and yeah, just look out for the content. And I'll see you on, not sure when. I'll try to come on live again at some point. But yeah, see ya.